first of all, when you use your power as Freddy, oh, watch out, it's gonna restart.
No.
No, I don't want to. When you use your power as Freddy, there is a slowdown. So that slowdown was quite quick, slowdown on his movement. So you can still look around and do everything else, but there was a very slight slowdown. So this slowdown has been increased. So each time you put someone to sleep, you'll not be able to run as fast as it was before.
Okay guys, so with this first nerf, they admittedly said that once Freddy puts you in the dream world, there's a slight slowdown in his speed. Yet you guys have complained so much that they're gonna make him even slower. Now, is this gonna stack? Is it if I put 3 people in the dream world, which is a great thing to do with Freddy, I'm gonna get 3 negatives against me? That's gonna discourage Freddy from wanting to put more than one person in the dream world at a time, which defeats the purpose of knowing where multiple people are at one time. That's why Freddy puts multiple people in the dream world, is so he can keep track of everything, because he can only hurt you and interrupt you in the dream world. And this, slowing me down even more, is just, it's way bad. It's especially if it stacks.
So small little thing. In your awake state, survivor will hear the lullaby at an increased range. So we've increased the range of that little song, the nursery rhyme, so that you can get the fuck out when you hear it, so that you don't fall into sleep right away.
So with this lullaby being heard a little bit sooner, it doesn't really bother me as a survivor. It doesn't really bother me as Freddy, but knowing that Freddy depends on, say, knowing somebody's in this area and they hear it sooner, and Freddy doesn't find them when usually he would, and it still takes 7 seconds to put somebody in a dream state. If that survivor is able to get away, that's going to hinder Freddy even more. So it helps the survivors and still hurts Freddy. But with this said, I mean, I can't really complain too much about it. It's a lullaby. They get to hear it sooner. Good for them. This I could agree with more than the rest.
Most importantly, in 2 changes, this one is really interesting. When you're dreaming and you're out of the terror radius, Freddy sees your outline, right? But we're adding a delay. That when you get out of this range, you'll have a 10 seconds to be invisible to Freddy.
So let me get...
Okay guys, so with the outline 10-second thing, it really bothers me. This is one that definitely bothers me because Freddy is the master of the dream world. With that said, if it takes him 7 seconds just to put you in that dream world, should you really be able to get out of his radius and have 10 seconds of him not seeing you? This, I feel, is super unbalanced and defeats the purpose of Freddy having these powers in the dream world. Like, why even have the dream world then? If I can't interrupt you or do anything to you unless you're in that world, why should my powers, me being the master of the dream world, be taken away from me even more when you can fail a skill check or find a survivor and get yourself out of the dream world? With pallet looping and everything else, you should be able to have enough time to do that on your own.
Another important thing, the slugging with Freddy is real. So we made a change with that's going to make this game more interesting and closer to what the other killers will have as the gameplay around slugging. So instead of having to wake up the person on the floor and on the ground and then heal, this action will be merged in one action. So basically you can get to a survivor that's dying, complete the healing process, and it will...
After the healing process is totally done,
Wake
then
up.
he wakes you up. Question: if I run Unbreakable,
Right?
and I get myself up with Unbreakable, will I wake up? Oh, okay. Question for Orvat.
I don't know.
So with this one being said, I don't know which way to swing on it, because I understand that waking somebody up and then healing them is kind of a pain, but once again, that's the consequence for being put in the dream world. And not just that, you were downed. So with that being said, this one I'm 50-50 on. I think if you're going to be able to wake them up while healing, will that take insanity away when playing the doctor? Stuff like that, because, you know, you can't, you know, wake people up from insanity against the doctor. So I feel this is really close to, are we taking away Freddy's strengths and maybe keeping the doctors? That's kind of what it seems like. And with Unbreakable, I don't think that's fair, because even if you got hit and you got away, somebody has to wake you up, or you still have to fail a skill check. Because you got downed and have a perk that allows you to get up, you shouldn't be able to just automatically wake up. And if that were the case, why not have a perk to where you can randomly wake yourself up at some point during the game?
We are adding a UI element to the player status to tell if the survivor is sleeping or not. So just like the Doctor Insanity, you'll have an idea for killers and survivor who needs to be woken up.
So with the UI being added to the game, I'm not, this is completely fine. Does it hinder Freddy at endgame because he's an endgame killer? Yes, it does. Putting him in dream state at the end of the game is awesome, because if the other survivors do not know who's asleep, it's important to be the last one to stay awake. So it still hinders Freddy, but I'm more okay with this than the others.
Okay, help a little bit. It's good quality of life. What else? Here's an interesting change as well. When the survivor is in the transition between, when he's falling asleep, right? So in that 7 seconds, Freddy will be intermittent visible.
Okay.
So he will flash in and out rather than being visible at all time. So we believe this is actually a buff, but only in high-ranked play.
So with this one being out there as well, I think it's just pointless, because now I'm even slower when putting them in a dream world, so them randomly seeing me here and there doesn't really do anything for Freddy. It's kind of a joke to call it a buff, because in all reality, it's nothing much for Freddy compared to the nerfs that he's getting, and considering how bad he already is.
Then other changes that we've made that are quite interesting. There's someone on the last Twitch that asked if Adrenaline would wake up Survivor, and we thought it was, it made a lot of sense and was on brand. So we've added that to Adrenaline.
It's even lore friendly.
Exactly. So Adrenaline perk is gonna wake you up if you're dreaming.
Okay.
Okay, so if you needed a perk that woke you up, now Adrenaline is that perk. And yes, it's not going to wake you up randomly throughout the game like I was saying, but if it's at the end game and you're asleep and the last gen goes off, here you go. You get your free wake up. So once again, a perk that hinders Freddy even more.
Other changes, actually there's one last I'd like to talk about. Remember Me is in the Obsession perk. We like to have a risk-reward mechanic on most of the Obsession perks, and this one was lacking this component. So there is a change to that perk that's going to come in the next patch, which is, so you collect token every time you hit the Obsession, but if you kill that Obsession, half of the token are going to be taken away from you.
Okay, so you want to keep it alive until...
If you want the full effect. So just to, remember me, just to remember the players, is the perk that adds time to the gate opening process.
So Adrenaline, the perk, got a buff for survivors, and now the nerf for Remember Me is coming, and I know I'm on Freddy's side because I don't want him to get nerfed like this. This is so damn bad. But the Remember Me perk was a little bit broken. Like the dude said, there's got to be risk versus reward, and I can understand where they're coming from. Will it hurt the perk? Will it hurt Freddy? Yes, but it'll also hurt the perk for other killers. So I cannot disagree with this one. This is another pass by me.
We agreed that in very early life, so when you're rank 20, when you start a game, it is quite challenging to face the Nightmare, let's say.
For the majority of our player base, yes.
Yeah, so starting against, like, as soon as we get into high-ranked play, Freddy feels way more balanced.
The unbalance was like really linked to skills, right?
Absolutely.
Okay guys, so in conclusion to the dev stream about the nerfs, and I know you guys know I was gonna be making this video, been working on it for a while because I really wanted to, you know, kind of go over everything, how I'm feeling about it, how maybe others are feeling about it, but the way I look at this is uncalled for. Now, do I agree with some of the nerfs? Of course. I'm not, you know, one-sided here, okay? But I also know when you're nerfing something way too hard, especially when it didn't really need a nerf in the first place. As you just heard from them just now, they said the reason he's being nerfed is because of level 20s. They said he's balanced at higher ranks. And even then, I'm a level 1 survivor, rank 1, and I feel that I could beat Freddy every single time, as long as there's people on my team that are as good as me and have studied Freddy and know how to beat him. I made a video a couple videos ago on how to beat Freddy. It's that simple. Just practice. Just learn his playstyle. You don't play the Huntress like you would the Trapper. You don't play the Doctor like you would Myers. You don't play any killer the same. You play according to how the killer is. And then you got perks and add-ons and all this stuff that makes components of the game a lot harder. I mean, do you think Freddy the way he is now is as difficult as Huntress with Iridescent Axe Head? Or with Myers to where once he downs you once, he just mori's you there then and there? There's so many more killers that are overpowered compared to Freddy, it's not even funny. And I get they have data to back this up, but this is data from the first week of Freddy. I'm sure if you look at the first week of this killer and the first week of this killer, they all seemed OP because it's a new killer, it's a new playstyle, it's something we have to adapt to. And with a week, I just think this information is overboard. The other thing is, if it's level 20s we're worried about, that's not good, because if Dead by Daylight was an MLG game, you're not going to see a level 20 in the tournament necessarily. And I'm not knocking level 20s, but what I'm saying is, if Freddy's strong at level 20, you're having problems facing him, you're constantly losing, but you're also getting experience against him. You're gonna learn earlier how to defeat him later on. Now, Freddy doesn't need this nerf. He's, without certain perks and without knowing how to make Freddy strong, he's very weak. He's comparable to the Wraith, if not equal to the Wraith. With that said, the Wraith is about to get a buff. So when the Wraith gets a buff, Freddy's gonna be the new worst killer because certain people or low-ranked people couldn't adopt a playstyle. That's not fair. That's not fair to people who liked Freddy. This was my favorite DLC, favorite killer, favorite survivor, favorite way the game looked with the dream world and everything. It was just excellent. Now knowing that Freddy's getting a nerf, it's a little bit annoying because people that complained and quit out of games just didn't want to put the time in. Now I'll tell you, I was playing the Hillbilly the other day and I sucked because I couldn't control the chainsaw. Hitting into walls, hitting into this, but I guarantee you 50 games playing them, I'm gonna master them. And then people are gonna say, well, guess what? You're overpowered. The Hillbilly's overpowered because this, and this. I get it, guys. I get it. But as a community, we gotta really look at, is Freddy a strong killer? No, he isn't. There's things I agreed with and things I didn't. Now, the Remember Me perk, fine. But look at this, okay? If Freddy puts you in a dream world and he's already slow, and they're gonna make him even slower, if he tags 3 people, that's 3 stacks of slowness against him. Those 3 people then split up. Not just that, once they're out of your terror radius, they're hidden for 10 seconds. If you have pallet looping, window hopping, all this stuff available to you, they're gonna have more than enough time to snap out of the dream state, and then Freddy loses everything. On top of that, once he puts you in dream world, he already has to wait 7 seconds just to interrupt anything you are doing. Saving a hook survivor, working on a generator, getting off of the hook. There's so much he has to deal with already. Knowing where people are in the dream world is one of his best powers, and for 10 seconds he's not going to have that ability. On top of the 7 seconds it took him just to put you in the dream world, and within that 10 seconds I guarantee more people are going to break out of dream state than ever with self-care, med kit, generator, another player waking them up. Now when they said the unbalance is really related to skill, that's a problem. That's a problem for me, who wants a very balanced game, and because of low levels and stuff like that, it ruins it. Because if he's balanced at a high level but strong at a low level and we're nerfing him, he's just gonna be weaker at a low level and weaker at a high level. So with that said, Wraith will soon overpower Freddy and we will not have balance. But I could say so much more, guys. I could go on more, but tell me what you think about the nerf. Do you want to see this happen? Do you not want to see it happen? Do you think he's overpowered? Do you think he's underpowered? But with that said, I love you guys. Battle.Rise Army is so strong. Add Battle.Rise on Facebook to be notified of when a new video's out or when we're streaming on Twitch. Hit our Twitch up. We play Dead by Daylight every single night. Hit us with that follow. And don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one.